Hello,
Hooray!
everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Giggly Witches podcast. I'm Sadie.
I'm Pam, and today we have a really exciting guest because she's one of my best friends. This is Hannah Guffey.
Hello.
She is
Hannah!
a spiritual healer and coach, and like I said, she's one of my best friends and my favorite people in the whole world. And yeah, Hannah, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Uh, well, I am currently in Nashville. I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I do a lot of fun woo-woo stuff. Love to paint, and I have no idea what else to say.
Well, I know
Um,
you said you are a spiritual healer and coach. Tell us a little bit right off the bat, like what do you do with your clients? I know you said there's a lot of different things. Give us a little teaser of the magic you do
hmm
in your
Absolutely.
business.
So I focus a lot on connecting with their guides to help guide them on their journey and kind of aligning them with their path. Usually they have questions about like, will I get a better job, or will I connect with, will I find my soulmate? And then their guides help redirect them on themselves and help guide
Mm.
them, giving them advice on what they can do to more align with themselves where they can reach those goals. And I also do mediumship. I connect with past loved ones. I do house clearings. I
hmm
work in the Akashic Records, helping clear past lives, helping with their contract if there's anything that needs to be more in alignment with them, anything that's not serving them anymore, or if they just have questions about what they've experienced in other lifetimes. And yeah, that's a gist of what I do.
All around just multi-passionate,
hmm
powerful, intuitive witch. We love it.
Yeah.
And hopefully a witch who loves to giggle with us this week. No, I know you will. Oh my gosh. Well, basically, I'm really excited to bring Hannah on because I had talked about, so my first ever reading I ever got in my life was an Akashic Records reading. And
Mm.
I was like, I still to this day don't totally understand what that means fully. Like I kind of have an idea. Um, but it was really pivotal. It was really validating. It really like set me down the path that I'm on now. And so then Pam had mentioned that Hannah had listened to me talk about that on that Rebel Witch podcast and was like, I need to talk to Sadie about this because she doesn't remember what the heck it is.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited for all of us to dive into that today. But before we get to the Akashic Records, we have to have some silly goofy time.
Always.
So
I'm
Pam, do you want to kick us off with a silly goofy?
Sure. Okay, so I had a few different silly goofies, so I might save some for next week so we don't get too carried away today
Last week
because
we were really all
last
over the
week
place.
was
oh no.
last week was rough.
When I was editing it, I was like, oh my God, get to the damn points, ladies. Okay, and here we go again.
Yeah.
We're getting off the tangent bus. We're here.
Yes.
Pam, take it away.
Okay, so I went home this past weekend,
Mhm.
back to New York, and if you don't know, they have a big Harry Potter store now. I think there's actually a couple of them, but the one I went to is in Flatiron.
Mhm.
Um, and if you've been listening, you know that Sadie and I have been
Oh,
wanting to
right.
do the broom experience. It's called the broom experience for our podcast intro.
Yes.
And it's like a virtual fly on the broom kind of thing. And we wanted to
Yeah.
do our intro. And I had texted Sadie, as I do, about 47 times. And before she even had a chance to answer them, I was like, you'll never guess what I just stumbled upon. Because one, I just spew every thought that comes out of my head to whoever I'm texting at that current moment. And also, I just have no self control. But also, I was just like, oh my God, I didn't know they did this here because I went in 2021, but it was still like like kind of peak COVID times.
Mm.
So they had like just opened this Harry Potter thing and you had to like reserve a time and it was the whole thing and there was no broom thing when I went last time and then this time um there was and I was like, "Oh my God," but I didn't do it because I was like, "I can't do it. I can't do it
We
without Sadie."
first we have to create the choreography that we're gonna do on the brooms. I'm gonna be taking that very seriously.
They're gonna be like, "You just sit there." Like there's
They're
no
like they're like you guys cannot do this together. It's one at a time, and you are not allowed to do flips. I've been taking notes, been watching the gymnastics Olympics.
Oh, no.
Sadie's like, "I've been practicing in my backyard."
I'm wait, have you guys okay, this is a good silly goofy. Have you guys seen they're like actual competitions of people like riding the like broomstick horses, like the horse when you know were a kid, you had like the stuffed animal horse head with like the broomstick on it.
Mhm.
Yes.
And there's like actual real competitions of people doing that. And they
Okay.
post it on the internet. And I think that one half of me wants to be like making fun of it, obviously. But the other half of me is like,
I
good for
respect
them.
it. Yeah, I
I
respect it.
respect that. Like, you know
I,
what? We can have be do anything in this life. And if you
yeah,
want to be half horse, half person, running around that track,
go for
galloping,
it.
leaping, prancing, I think that's beautiful.
My first week that I lived in LA, I like didn't know anybody, and the only person I knew was my cousin, and he was out of town. I was like, "What do you mean you're out of town this week?" Like, I just got here. Um, and I lived like right next to the Grove, so I walked over,
Mm,
and this is like literally my first week in LA. And I got to the
can't wait to see
Grove.
where this goes.
I got to the Grove, and in this like little like grassy patch area, they were playing Quidditch, like on brooms. They would run around on their brooms. And there was
I
one
want to do
guy,
that so bad.
but wait, there's more. And, and the way that they would do it was some like a person was the
The
snitch,
snitch, yeah,
and he runs around with
with like
like
a
a
flag.
long sock and like a ball tied to like his belt, and he runs around, and you have to catch it.
Oh my God.
That would be an exhausting job to be the snitch.
Terrifying. I would be like,
I like
please,
this bowl.
I like this ball. I was talking to my brother's boyfriend about that when we went to Harry Potter. I was like, you have to watch it because I was just talking about it and this is like still in my head now.
When I was in
Um,
college, there was like a Quidditch team, and I never joined it, but I thought about it, and that's as far as that story goes. But
and I
what's
also
that?
got this
Oh,
a little notebook. So cute. It's just like a journal, but it has cute sides.
cute.
And then I was like, oh
Advanced
my God,
potion
this will
making
be
for our
so
audio
cute.
listeners.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Um, it's a notebook. And I thought it would be cute to put all my like spell work in there.
Yeah, keep track. I
Yeah.
use Notion now because I'm a modern witch, I guess. But if anyone doesn't do this, because I didn't do this for the excuse me, first few years I was casting spells. If you don't do this, it's so impactful to like put a date and write down the spell you did and write down like anything you felt at that moment and then like go back and reread through that and make sure you write the results down of what happened because I didn't do that forever
Yeah.
and the spells would work, but there's like something about like really like taking note and recognizing that it did manifest, maybe even in a different
Yeah.
way than you thought. But now I have a little Notion. I'm obsessed with Notion. Pam knows everything's on Notion, but it's all organized. I have my little table of like the date, what the spell was, if I did a follow-up, if I did like meditations or tappings afterwards to try to move the spell along. And then, how it manifested if it did. And it's so rewarding because you're like, oh shit, I am a witch. I don't know. Sometimes you're just doing rituals all the time and you're like, yeah, I don't know. It's the full moon again. Great. Let's do something. But you don't recognize like how it has changed your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grimoires, very important. Very important,
Completely.
giggly witches.
Yeah.
I need to look into that because I've done, I'm kind of new
Mm,
at Little Magic. Pam's been teaching me a
Yes,
lot.
I'm always like,
love.
come in. Let's
Maybe
go.
I'll create. I keep saying stuff I'm gonna do on these podcasts, but somebody remind me. I will create a template for like a Notion grimoire and I'll make it
Mm,
free to download.
that would be
Okay.
awesome. I keep
It's
telling Hannah
pretty
to download
straightforward,
Notion.
but Notion literally runs my life. If someone hacks my Notion and deletes everything, I'm done. Send me to the grave. I don't know how I would
Done for.
survive.
Well, for so long, our friend Steffi, who I used to live with, was like, Notion, it's great. It's great. I was like, that sounds like a lot of work, and I don't want to
Yeah.
do that. And
There's
then I did it.
templates though.
I know. And then I did it, and I was like, Steffi was right.
It has made my life better in every way. Now I have recently I uploaded, it takes work, but I'm a Virgo, so I like this shit. I enjoy this part more than actually doing the stuff after. But um I like try to remember every like program I've ever invested in because I've done a lot of coaching
hmm
programs and I made them into this whole like education Notion thing, all my certifications, all of my coaching programs, whatever. And then I like organize them in the way of the ones I want to, it's 222 right now, the ones I want to redo first. Because I was like, I just feel like it's time. Like I went on like I don't know, bought tons of programs in like 2021 and 2022. And I was like, it just feels like a good time, go back through it. And
Yeah.
it's been so great. Like every day I do like one class or like half a class, depending on how long these things are. But I've already gotten through an entire program that I never finished in the first place just by having it in my Notion, being able to check off like, oh, that class done, that workbook done. And I'm just like, this is life changing. This is amazing. Notion.
Yeah, I need
Hooray.
to download it, but I have not done anything with it yet
Yeah.
in my
It's
life.
amazing. I have Notion, I have the Notion calendar, everything. I love it.
All the
And
things.
there's a paid version, but I don't even use that. And I run my whole life on it. I don't even know what the paid version does, but it's free.
Notion,
Crazy.
please sponsor
This
us.
episode is not sponsored by Notion, but we wish it was.
Um, I'm trying to think. Well, I was just thinking about this for my another one of my silly goofies is I feel like I just need to make like a PSA
hmm
announcement because I did just notice myself doing it right now where I can't stop fidgeting and moving. And Sadie just posted a clip of Giggly Witches. And the whole time I'm like drinking, I'm like touching my bangs, I'm touching my face, I'm doing all the things. And I was like, oh my
I do
God,
the
girl,
same thing.
sit
Every
still.
time I have to have coffee and water with me because I will
Oh,
finish one
yeah.
and go into the I have like an oral
Well, they're
fixation.
for
I have to be
different
drinking
things.
something constantly. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm
then
not.
also,
Oh,
I was like, I was watching this like clip of myself and I was like, I just feel like I need to put it out there. I don't hate Sadie. I
You're like,
don't. I'm usually so like intently listening
you're like,
and yeah, like my face just looks so uninterested and like I'm like unhappy to be
Pam's
here,
like
literally. Just I'm like I feel
falling
like I need
asleep.
to make an announcement. I am very happy to be here. I love working with Sadie. This is just a PSA. And that's all I've got for you. Please
I mean,
continue.
I feel like when I get nervous, my right eye tears, and I'm over here trying to hide the fact that
You're
I'm
like,
like touching my eye, trying to like I'm like they probably think I'm crying. I'm not
it's
Oh,
gonna.
all
okay.
the time I'm always like,
Yeah,
Yeah. No. I always think people, I forgot my septum piercing is up in my nose right now because I just had that interview.
interview.
Um,
I was thinking, I was like,
what?
something looks different, and I couldn't tell what it
Yeah,
was.
what does everyone think? No septum. I really want a gold one.
Mm,
it look
I
good.
feel like
You,
it would
yeah.
blend
Oh,
in.
yeah.
This one is, I don't want to take it out right now because it could have a booger on it, and we just can't do that on live television, but
We're not there yet.
we're close, but we're not that close. No, it's more of it being on recording, me being like, oh, where do I, yeah. Anyways, this it's silver. And this one, so I got my septum pierced on my 18th birthday because I was like, I'm 18, I can do whatever I want now, but I also need to hide it from my parents because you could flip it up in your nose.
Yeah.
This is the piece of jewelry it got pierced with. I'd like to remind everyone, I'm almost 33 years old. I got this on my 18th birthday. it is stuck in my nose. I can't unscrew the balls on it. I can't get it out. I've wanted a
Oh,
gold one
forever.
forever because I was like, oh, I think it'd be pretty. I usually wear gold jewelry. I don't know. If something happens to me and I need to go in an MRI machine, they're just gonna have to like cut it, like pry it off of me. Otherwise, it'll
Mm.
shoot through my brain. Anyways, thoughts that keep me up at night.
You might have to go to a piercer and have them like pry it off.
Yeah,
That's what
that's
I
what I
was
need to
gonna
do.
say.
That's where I would probably go to get the gold jewelry anyways. But anyways, I was like, oh. But I am always going like this. My nose always itches or I'm like fixing
Same.
my thing. And then I always think people think I do drugs because I'm always like
I'm always like this, and I'm like, wait, like I'm not
always
like
like going
playing
like
with my
this and
nose.
this. And I'm like, ugh, they probably think I'm doing drugs. Or they probably think I just have allergies or something, but that's where my brain goes. Um,
That's the like what we were talking about with like the bad thoughts. Like that's I think probably what that is.
yeah.
'Cause I do that too,
Oh,
where I'm like somebody probably thinks that I'm doing something bad.
yeah. Yeah, I always assume everyone thinks the worst of me. That's on mindset. But no, I used to, not so much anymore. But okay, I do actually have a silly goofy, but I don't know if this is going to be funny to you guys.
Okay.
I have to give some background story because it's sort of an inside joke with my best friends growing up, but I think I can get us all there. But also, this is a little
Okay.
bit visual for our audio listeners, okay? Okay, so I don't the thing with me and my best friends, we've been besties since we were like 11 years old. And we went to college together. So we have all these great college memories, right? I don't know if this is from all of our jokes that we've had for decades. I don't know if we all don't know if they're from something or we made them up. So I don't know if this is from a movie or show, a Vine, something. I can't remember. Or maybe we just made it up. But in college, like when we would go to the bars, we had a few moves that we would do to like make each other laugh. And like
Okay.
one of them would be like going like on the dance floor, like going like this. And if you're listening and not watching, I'm using both my hands like I'm giving some HJs in my mouth. It's really inappropriate,
She's
okay?
using
And then the
what
other
was
thing we
the
would always
shake
do,
weight? What was it
yeah,
called?
like, oh, maybe it was like a joke from that or something, but we'd always be like, it was like a joke that like they, yeah, it
Yeah.
was inappropriate. And then our other favorite joke that we still do all the time is like if we had a beer bottle, like, and we were like across from each other, like we would lock eyes and we'd like put our whole mouth over. Still love that joke. These are still really good jokes. But anyways, so this is the background. This is the setup to this story. So yesterday, I'm on a Zoom with my sales agency, just a weekly Zoom, catching up, whatever. And I get a shout out because I was on like the top 5 producers or whatever. I was number 5. Go me.
Oh yeah.
And then I also got we're doing this like competition thing of who gets the most sales and stuff. So they did these like drafts, like whatever, but not everyone gets drafted for the teams, but I got drafted last week. So very exciting. But so they're on the Zoom, the whole agency's on the Zoom. Okay. And they're reading off the thing or whatever. And they're like, number 5, like shout out to our new agent. Like she's on the top 5. Here's her numbers. And she got drafted last week. Like she's killing it. And I was possessed and I meant to be like, woo, like on the Zoom, like, cause I'm muted, but I'm like, and I go like this
Um,
with the 2 hands pumping back and forth with my mouth. And I'm sure nobody thought that, but in my mind, I know what that is.
It
And
went
so then
immediately to
I just, and I just, couldn't stop laughing. So I had to like turn my video off because they're going to think I'm absolutely insane. And I'm sure everyone just thought I was doing a little like, woo, nobody thought that. But because I have that joke with my friends and I was like, the intrusive thought took over.
well,
It's my silly goofy. Anyways, maybe you had to be there.
that is a silly goofy.
Okay, but I have to tell you the most amazing story. The best
Okay.
thing that's ever happened to me so far in this year. I'm
Okay.
like, what time frame? At least this month. Okay. So on
At least this month. Ever. This year.
ever
This
the
month.
7th of the month, like this summer. Okay. What day was it? I think Saturday. I went out to lunch and then I came home and my family was like, there's a kitten in the garage. A kitten. I have to bring it up on my phone so I can show you guys. And there's this little gray kitten, so small. She's in our, like, my dog found her. She's in our garage. She's so little. And look at it.
Oh my
Little gray
God.
kitten. This is when we first found her, and she was very skittish. And, my dad, of course, is like, she can't come in the house. Like, she has to stay in the garage, whatever. Classic dad meme. Now he's like, I'm kind of attached. I wish we were keeping her. But anyways, we all have a different name for her. I call her Stormy because she's like a storm cloud. She's gray. I've also been calling her Shadow because she follows me a lot around. But she showed up on like the new moon in Leo. And she's so cute and she's so cuddly now. I wanted to bring her in here, but she's just running around like a little gremlin right now. But she's so small and she's so cute.
Oh my God, so cute. She's like,
And so
what is happening?
our whole family is just obsessed with this little cat now, and she's like super snuggly, and she just purrs and she plays and she just sits on your chest, and she's so cute. If you're watching the
So
video, if
cute.
you're just listening, I don't know, I haven't put it on my stories, but look at her. Look at her.
Oh my God.
And she's so happy and spoiled. And we took her to the vet and she's healthy. And of course, I was like, I want to adopt her. I know I don't have a house, but I really want to adopt her. But my stepsister claimed her. So she's going to go to someone in our family. We tried to post on Facebook, tried to find the owner. We have farms around here. So she's probably like a barn cat and just like got separated. They're across the highway. So she probably like crossed the road and then just like couldn't figure out getting back over. But yeah, there's been a little kid in my house the past like 4 days, and she's leaving in a few more days because she's going to my stepsister. Oh, I wanted to keep her so bad.
Oh,
Me and cats.
cat distribution system.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
But it's been so cute, like our whole family. And my dad was just so anti-cat, and like now he's the one because she's been staying in our laundry room at night, and then in the mornings during the day she runs all around. But my dad's the one that like goes to get her, and he's always like picking her up. He's like, oh, the guy that was like, she can't come in the house.
Yeah.
No, we're not keeping her. And he's like, I do wish we were.
I feel like that's a big like dad thing.
Big dad.
That's like all the
energy.
dad memes.
The dad that didn't want the dog, the dad that didn't want the cat. Yeah, but that's been so fun to have a little cat, a little
Very
kitten
cute.
around. And I really wanted to adopt her and teach her to be like a little traveling cat, but I was like third in line. If the first two people didn't want her, then I was going to be like, it's a sign, I'll take her. And I was a little sad that it didn't work out, but it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
That's my story of the week. I don't really have a silly goofy. Well, I did share my silly goofy, me doing the inappropriate dance move on my Zoom.
Yes. I think that was good.
Any more silly goofies?
Not really. I have one, but I was like, do I share this?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm convinced.
Okay.
This was just maybe it's just like a silly goofy to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But it was one of those things where like, when you get older and you say something and you're like, is this what my life is now? Because you're like old.
Yeah.
Not that we're old, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you know how like the Gen Z does the like shirt tuck where it's like in the bra?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because like I guess like the French tuck is out and that like shows that you're a millennial apparently.
I've
So
been
you
really,
do
working hard on that. I'm a real big tucker.
so you do the Gen Z tuck. And I was doing that and I was at work and my boss was with me. I mean, she's like our age, so it's like not that weird. And we were like instant friends, and but like my shirt kept like falling out of the tuck and I was like, God, like this Costco bra is just not holding it in place. And she was like, what? And I was like, my bra from Costco that I'm wearing. I got the bra from Costco. Honestly, one of the most comfortable bras I've ever worn in my entire life.
Yeah, wow.
But
I don't wear bras. And so that Gen Z bra tuck doesn't work for me
okay,
because I don't wear them.
I didn't for a really long time, and I just started again like last year because I wanted somewhere to put my crystals.
Yeah, I've also not been able to do that, unfortunately.
So I started doing that again. And then also because I was like going into work,
Yeah,
into places. And
I
I was
never
like,
wear
I
them at
should
work either, but
probably
my boobs aren't
take
very
this.
big, so.
Mine will smack someone in the face. So we gotta be careful with it.
Mine just instantly. I have.
No, I am really grateful. Sometimes I see, well, I think we talked about this on one of the episodes, my fascination with big boobs. Sometimes I want
Oh,
big
yes.
boobs, specifically just think about fake boobs quite a bit. I don't know. Just like I think about them. I would never get them, but sometimes, I just
Think
see
about it.
someone with great, big boobs and I'm like, I would
Good
look
for
great with
her.
big boobs, like I know it comes with its own challenges. And my boobs have been big at times in my life. When I gain weight, it's in my boobs. And
Hashtag blessed.
for me. But yeah, but then 99% of the time I'm grateful that there's boob there, So there's
Mhm.
some boob, but not enough where I like have to wear a bra. And I do enjoy that. I am grateful for that now. As you get
Yeah.
older, I feel like you learn to love the things about you that maybe at one point you wanted to be different, like your height. We talked about height,
Yes, we did talk about height.
boob size, things like that.
Yeah. Hannah, you're kind of tall too.
Yeah, I'm
How tall
5'8".
are you? 5'8". Yeah. Yeah.
I'm 5'10".
I got tall friends.
5'9" and a half. My brother was like, "You're not 5'10". I was like, "Okay, sorry." I said it the other day for some reason. I was like, everyone in my family is so competitive about height because everybody's tall. Like
You're
my
just
two
like a guy on
brothers.
Tinder. 5'10" if that matters.
That's what I explained to him. I was like, Luke, I got used to rounding up because guys always round up
Yeah.
on dating apps. And so I'm like, I'm going to round up so they know that because I am 5'9" and a half. Maybe I shrunk now. Maybe I'm only 5'9", but I'm like, I round up so they know that I'm
Yeah.
tall. And so they're not gonna lie that they're 5'10" when
Taller.
they're 5'8" because I'm 5'10",
Yeah.
Like
Well, that's what they always do.
they always do.
If it says 5'10", then they're probably 5'8", 5'9".
All
Yeah,
freaking the
Yeah.
majority of my boyfriends have been slightly shorter than me, and it's so annoying because I'm like, you said you were 5'11". You're 5'9". You can add 1 inch and I'll be like, okay. But also, if you're
Yeah.
the same height as me, don't lie about your height because
Yeah.
I will know.
Yeah.
Someone Pam's height won't know if the difference.
No.
I'm sorry, I will know. Hannah would know too. She's five
Yeah.
eight. Like we
oh
can
yeah.
tell
I,
we're up here with you.
I've
Yeah.
had experience that whenever I was on dating apps. I know you're lying.
Yeah.
I'm like
I'm freaking.
literally looking down at you.
That's their silly goofy time.
That
They're
is
like
silly
filling out
goofy.
their profile and they're like, it would be just like so silly goofy if I lied about
You know
this.
what is sexy is a short king owning his height and just being like, yeah, I'm 5'6". What's up, ladies?
Yeah. Zac Efron is a short king.
Yeah. You know what my favorite pastime is? Do you guys get like, I get like really intense crushes on celebrities to the point where I'm delusionally like, if we met, we would be together. And I feel them deep in my soul and I like
Of
pine
course.
for them. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is how I get over it. I Google how tall they are, and then they're all shorter than me. And I'm like,
Well,
That's fine then. I mean, I've dated men that are like my height are slightly shorter than me, but it's not the end of the world. But I'm like, it helps to just know. Like I had a really big crush. Who didn't have a crush on Zac Efron?
oh my God, yeah.
High School Musical era,
Loved
please.
it.
But then I Googled how tall he was, and I was like, if I saw him and he was like, Sadie, can I take you out? Would I say no?
Of
No.
course not.
I would say yes, but it helped me stop pining.
Drawing Mrs. Zac Efron in your notebook.
I'm trying to think of my other Orlando Bloom. I had a really really difficult time with. That was a really painful.
How tall is he?
I don't
He
remember, but I
seems
think he's
tall.
shorter.
Really?
Let's Google it. I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember I've Googled I'm always obsessed with how tall because a lot of Hollywood men are not tall in
Oh,
the movies and stuff. They just kind of like do like camera angles and stuff to make them seem taller, but usually like and then the women are tall.
this says
Um
5'11".
yeah, see he's not that tall.
Oh,
He's only an inch taller
to
than
me,
me.
like to me, that's tall. I was like, oh, he's tall.
I want a homie that's 6'4". But he's gorgeous. Oh,
Yeah.
God, I
Well,
love
that
him.
was what I was thinking about too when we were talking about Disney crushes,
Yeah,
because I didn't even get to the Pirates of the Caribbean
yeah. Orlando
crushes.
Bloom
All of them.
and Johnny Depp in that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my God, my baby brother Tommy, who's not a baby anymore, but when Pirates of the Caribbean was like new, he was a baby and he loved it and he would like want to watch it all the time. And he loved, Captain Jack Sparrow. And he would do the little walk, like, because he's always like drunk. And oh my God, and he's like a little toddler. And we were just laugh. We're like, he doesn't know that he's pretending to be drunk, but he's literally pretending to be drunk. And it was so cute.
We loved that movie in
It's
my
so
house.
good.
And I love that you just said also baby brother because I still call my youngest brother my baby brother.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm taller than you.
My baby brothers are both way bigger than me, but
And I'm like, but you're still my baby brother.
you know what happened yesterday that was insulting and illegal?
Okay.
I went for a walk in my neighborhood, which is where I grew up,
Mm-hmm.
and the little baby children that I used to babysit across the street were out
Yeah.
walking their dog, and they were adults.
Yeah.
The little boy that I used to change his diaper needed to shave his beard. And the little girl,
Straight to
she's a
jail.
full grown woman, and I was like, what the hell are you guys doing here? But I literally, like, I stopped to say hi, like, they had the dog or whatever. So I was like, whoa, you guys are grown up. I was shook. I used to babysit I was like the older, one in this neighborhood. So I babysat everyone.
Yeah.
They're all in college and stuff. That doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. I'm a
Don't love
teenager.
that.
Doesn't the math
Just
isn't
a
mathing.
Mhm.
I was like, this is go straight to jail. You guys
Mm.
need to go.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Okay. Anyways, I want to learn more about the Akashic Records.
Me
So,
too.
Hannah, can you tell us like what the heck are the Akashic Records? Can you explain that to us first and foremost? Because I
Yes.
don't really remember.
So the Akashic Records is a massive library. And when I say massive, it's endless.
Mm. Ooh, I
It
have a
is an
chill. Hmm.
yeah, massive. It's kind of like whenever the first time I went in there, I felt like I was in Hogwarts because of the way it looked. Like it's very
Mm.
wood everywhere. It is very bright though. That's the only difference. At least that's how I
Mm.
experience it. And there's rooms and like I said, it's endless. So it's like you can spend forever in there. But it's in another dimension
Hmm.
Okay.
or almost like another realm. Whenever I've asked my guides like what dimension it is in, they said the seventh, but it's in almost another realm at the same time. So whenever I've connected with it, it's like I go almost like up and in. That makes sense.
Okay, I do remember when I got my Akashic Records reading her explaining the seventh dimension. I remember that. That rings a
That's
bell.
cool.
So like, yeah, like our reality is like these dimensions that are kind of coexisting and the way our human brain can like understand it or how she explained it to me was just like, yeah, like thinking of it like layers almost to reality.
Hmm.
And so how do you go to this place?
Yeah.
Whenever I'm tuning in, I will ask spirit to raise my vibration to the same vibration as the
Mm.
records, and then I just give it a minute, and then I kind of shift into the place. So, and I'm very visual, so it's really easy for me to see it. And then once I'm in there, I'm greeted by a librarian to help me with
Hmm.
you.
Wow. Is it always the same librarian or is it different?
It's the
The
same
same.
one.
So you're like, oh, hey, old friend.
Yeah, we've been working together for going on. First time I met him was 4 years ago.
Mm.
Wow.
Mhm.
Have you like connected with other people that work in the Akashic Records and like asked them about like their librarian or and do people have different guides that like help them there, different librarians, or have you met somebody that has like the same guy or however you would say it as you?
It's interesting because it always feels like the same one,
Yeah.
but there are many, but they
Yeah.
are like it's almost like a collective of them in the same vibration. And there probably are feminine ones as well. Mine
Hmm.
just give off a masculine energy. It doesn't look like a human. It doesn't, it's never said I'm a man. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
a being that gives off masculine energy and has a masculine voice. So
Okay.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Hannah has described it to me too. Did you ever watch that show called The Magicians? It's on Netflix.
I'm trying to think. I don't
It's
think
like kind of scary a little
I don't
bit.
think I've watched. I'm thinking of the. No, I don't think I watched The Magicians. The other, I was thinking of a different, the one where that's like all the siblings that are like have different powers, but I think that's a different show.
yeah, that's a different show.
The Umbrella Academy is what I'm thinking of, which is
Oh,
also a
okay.
really good show, but
I haven't
different.
watched it
I have
yet.
not seen The Magicians. I really wanted to watch it though.
Yeah,
It's
it's kind of scary, just heads up.
It's okay. I like
It's kind
scary.
of creepy. Um, but yeah, she's described it to me like that, right? Does it still kind of come off like that?
I do think it's a bit of inspired by the Akashic Records because they have to go into other realms.
Hmm.
They're whenever they're in this certain place that it's like almost like gateways into different realms, and then they accidentally or one of them accidentally goes in there, and it's all the books are everyone's books of their lives,
Mm.
and and there's a librarian that greets him, so it's very similar.
Oh, that's cool.
So crazy.
Okay, so you raise your vibration,
Mhm.
you enter the Akashic Records, you have a librarian. And then how does that work then? Do you say like, like who I'm this is my client, this is who I'm working for, like lead me to their record or how what goes on from there?
At first it started off that way, and
Mhm.
now it's where the librarian sometimes will have the book ready as I'm coming up to him.
Mm.
I do like, hey, I need to look for this specific lifetime for this specific person. And then he'll, take me to the room. Everyone has their own room of all of their books, of all of their lives. And
Mm.
which I did not know that until like later on after spending time in the Akashic Records. But it's whenever he gets to the book, then he opens the book up, and everyone's books look different. Like they almost design based on their lifetime of what they find beautiful or their interests are. And then when the book opens, it turns into almost like this light show around you, like almost like an energy grid,
Oh,
which
wow.
I, you
Cool.
know,
Like a high-tech spy room
yeah.
where like all the documents come up.
Yeah, it's like little glowing dots, and each dot is a life or as something that they need to that you can focus on.
Mm.
And where I ask for a specific life, he'll literally like pull it out of the energy grid.
Oh,
And
very cool.
if I want to see it, he pushes it up to my forehead as if he's inserting it into my brain.
Wow. Speechless. No, I'm never speechless. I have more questions. Okay, so what
Buckle up.
are no. What are some of the most like common things for someone that was like, whoa, this is so cool. I want Hannah to read my Akashic records. Like, what are some of the most common things people come to you that they want to know the answer from their Akashic records? Or maybe a better way to word this question is like, what kinds of things would you suggest like, let's say I have a whole slew of problems. What kind of problems or questions do I have that are like best suited for an Akashic Records reading versus maybe like a regular psychic reading, if that makes sense?
The great thing with the Akashic Records is you can, let's say you are in a cycle and you want to
Mm.
understand why you're in this cycle, if that's a place to go, because you can look at your book of this lifetime and I can ask the librarian, like, where did it come from? Is it from this lifetime, or is this energy coming from another life that is not resonating with them anymore? Is this a lesson? Is this in their contract, their current contract? And
Mm.
like that's a really important one. A lot of people want to know if they have a soulmate. So, or if the relationship they're in right now is their soulmate, or it's a, karmic relationship. So that is a place that I can go in there and find out, get information for them. If they're wanting a really big one that I love to do is if the client I'm working with is wanting to break out of feeling connected with their ex, like they can't stop
Mm.
thinking ex. Usually it's the energy is lingering because it needs to be cleared from their contract. It's not
Mm.
serving anymore, but they are struggling to let it go. And it's usually a karmic relationship that just hasn't, the ties haven't been cut. And so I go in, I have the librarian bring it up, and then I find out if it's serving them anymore. Most of the time it's not, and then I'll have them clear the energy, and then a few days later they'll be able to move forward. And it's pretty wild how it's like night and day for them.
I
I
can confirm.
This is bringing up I'm remembering so much from my reading because this is crazy that I just for the first time remembered just right now. Because when I had my Akashic record reading, it was in my like last serious relationship with my ex, and I remember her saying, like the current I don't know, she kind of like I think she asked, she's like, like I'm looking at your like I don't know, soul contract or however she worded it to do with relationships, and she was like basically kind of saying I'm sort of I don't know, I don't remember perfectly, but like saying like things might not be as they seem, and like just to like be careful. Like it was almost like a just like take things slow, be very like keep your eyes open, be very like trust your intuition in this, like almost like a warning.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that would have been my last relationship. That's not this one. That's not this one's perfect. Like everything's perfect in this relationship. There's no way this person would do anything to betray me, whatever.
Mm.
Well, fast forward a little bit in that relationship. Serial cheater,
Oh.
completely taken by surprise. And I just remember that right now. I was like, oh shit, that woman saw that. And like she didn't say break up with him, get out of there, but it was just like you need to be very mindful of the contract you are in right now
Yeah.
because it's not all as it seems right now, and you need to, carry your like whatever. It was like a warning, but it was very supportive, and it was like, and I was just like, oh no, she's talking about my ex. Like that was I already did that journey. No, buckle up, Sadie. That was about to come. And I'm just remembering that right now. And so that brings to question like, because I think like there's some things where, right, like it's a contract and we have to live it, like we're meant to live it. So have you ever had a time when a client wants to know something or ask about something and the librarian's like, that's not for them to know? Does that ever happen?
All the time.
Yeah.
Because
So I gotta
people
chill.
it's this some people are a bit obsessed with needing to know what's going to
Yeah.
happen. It's they might have went through a lot of feeling like their life is out of control, and they feel like they need to be in control of their future to be able to relax and breathe. And but your guides are never going to really, they're not going to tell you because they know it's going to take away from your learning experience, and the librarian knows that as well. So I love that she told you it that way because it still gave the opportunity for you to learn. She gave you
Hmm.
learning, but still let you go through it because you needed to learn a lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
And
yeah,
that
I'm
brought
just
you to
remembering it.
working with Lilith for the first time.
It did.
So that brought you to
Mhm.
deity work too.
It brought me to deity work. And I mean, that whole reading, it was right when I was just first beginning my business, which was more so what I wanted to know about. it was more about like my purpose and, like I wanted to know more about that. Like, what's my purpose? I was trying to really like I had started doing like free and like really low cost coaching sessions and I was just starting out, right? And it was very
Mm.
confirming of that. She saw me as a teacher and in the spiritual space and all of those things. But yeah, and then like I hadn't really asked her about the relationship stuff and then she kind of gave me that like she's like just be careful, just be mindful, keep your eyes open. I think it was
Yeah.
sort of a like and I am very like gullible, just like that didn't even surprisingly ruin it for me. I just trust people completely. I'm like, why would they want to do any harm? I still have that as a part of who I am, but thankfully, which I think, but you do have to be careful. But yeah, like, wow, I just remembered that. I forgot about that. She knew, she saw it. That's so interesting.
Mm.
What about because like I sought it out and I think that's kind of what she had advertised was like, finding your purpose through it.
Mhm.
When it comes to going into the Akashic Records to help people with like purpose or like specifically connecting it maybe to career because purpose isn't only about our career, but everyone wants it to be. Why wouldn't you,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm curious, like, I don't know, maybe you have like a specific story or how does that usually look if I was like, Hannah, I need help with my purpose. I need career guidance. What would
Yeah.
that, how would that show up in the Akashic Records?
So whenever I'm looking at someone's purpose through their, it's pretty embedded into their contract.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not just about career or about, like you're gonna have a family. It's like
Yeah.
you're here to learn how to experience peace, how to overcome these specific traumas that you want to overcome in this lifetime because your soul went through it so much before. And so your soul chooses to put you in certain situations to push you hard to
Mm-hmm.
thrive after. So that's actually bigger. Usually the librarian will point that out more than about your career or about your love life. It's usually like you're here to experience these feelings, to
Mm-hmm.
accomplish these goals, to feel a certain way because we want to, our soul wants to learn how to feel a lot of things.
Yeah.
So it's usually bigger than the rest of it.
Yeah, it's so multifaceted and it's like I think our purpose expresses itself in different ways in every area of our life with like common themes.
Mm.
Pam, do you have any questions? Because I have a lot more I can keep going. And I'm talking a lot.
I I mean, you're asking all the questions that I have. So,
Okay.
so
I got more, I got more, I got more.
every time I'm like, okay, I want to ask this, I want to ask this. You keep asking it, so I'm like, keep going. You're doing great. But I think one of the things that I'm always curious about with the Akashic Records is just like, I guess, I mean, we've kind of talked about this, but it's almost like, what can you learn from the Akashic Records?
Everything, literally everything. It's the Akashic Records is literally the records of everything that's ever existed in every possible way. And so, if you are wanting to understand why you have certain habits, you can go into the Akashic Records and meet with a librarian and go through your contract. You might learn that you've had past lives where you did something that created this bad habit in this lifetime, and it'll help you understand why you feel the way you do. It might even, like, for example, you might have had a life where you went through trauma with your mom really badly in one lifetime, and in this lifetime it's like the polar opposite and you wish you had closeness, or it's hard to think of an actual, like, way to describe it, but
Mhm.
Mhm.
you'll recognize through examining what your soul has been through, how it so deeply resonates, and you might have had little hints throughout your lifetime of like, oh, that resonates with me because I felt that when I was in high school, and things like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm remembering again. I'm gonna keep referencing my reading, but you're bringing back all these memories because I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I remember. But one of the biggest things she told me that was the most life-changing was that from my past lives there was this theme that I was carrying into this life of victimhood, of always feeling like the victim because I
Mm.
had had experiences in past lives of being a victim of various things. But in this life, I was always feeling sorry for myself and feeling
Mm,
like the victim of things that I didn't need to feel that way, right? Like always feeling like poor me, very disempowered. And when she said that, and it was just so real, and it was so, I was just like, it's like, but, and when she said it, I was like a little like, excuse me. But
yeah.
it stuck with me. It was like this thing that really stuck out. And I think she went over it, kind of like breezed over it, It wasn't like this big thing she said, but it was the thing that stuck out the most. And like from that point on, it was like something clicked in my brain and I started to see very clearly all and then that was really important for building a business. You can't feel like a victim when things don't work out, when someone doesn't buy your offer, when people don't follow you, whatever. Like that's gonna get you nowhere
Yeah.
if you're feeling sorry for yourself. And obviously also it helped me a lot when that relationship transpired and I found out those things. And you could say I was a victim in that circumstance of being cheated on, but like I was like, I'm not gonna I'm gonna recognize this hurt, I'm gonna heal it, whatever, but I'm not gonna sit here and just be a victim and for me, I'm gonna do something about this, I'm gonna heal, I'm gonna move forward. So I remember that with that theme coming from my past lives and the way it was manifesting in a very disempowering way in this life. And that was probably the most life-changing one sentence she said of like, I was just like, and it changed the whole trajectory of my life from then on. I was like, oh,
Damn.
Sometimes just knowing, like, that's a huge thing that happens with just learning about what you've been through. You
Yeah.
mhm.
hear the story or snippets of what happened, and it automatically starts to heal it within your body. It starts
Yeah,
to it in your perspective starts changing. It's almost like a weight was lifted off your shoulders, and you don't have to, either it brings awareness and you can work through it, or it is able to fall off of you and you can just not have to experience it anymore according to what it is.
yeah, yeah. That was just so huge. And I just, now I always am just of the mindset, whether it's for me or for a client that I'm coaching or working with, it's like it's not our fault, but it is our responsibility. We
Yes.
may in fact be a victim, and that's not our fault,
No.
but it's our responsibility to, heal and move forward, and we deserve that for ourselves. And that has just been that was the quantum leap in my life, was that shift of just like, okay, there are legitimate reasons I could feel sorry for myself and throw a pity party, but why why waste the time doing that? Like, let's figure this out. Let's move forward. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, that reading was really life-changing for me. I want another one now. I'm like, ooh,
Well, I
visit the
always
librarian.
recommend Hannah.
Mm. Hmm.
She's, we even have done things like just to go kind of on the complete opposite spectrum of this and be like, this thing is like so little and not, but like it was life changing to me. But it was like such a like little thing, not like what you've been talking about, where I was so afraid of the dark,
I was too, yeah.
literally. And like looking out of a window at nighttime was horrifying to me.
Same.
Literally until, I don't know, Hannah, when was this? Like 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
It was 2 years ago.
Um, and I was like, listen, at the time, I was 27 years old. I was like, listen, I'm 27 years old. I just want to be able to close my blinds at nighttime without being afraid.
Yeah.
Like, and we went through it and like that was from a past life. Are you looking at whatever the the light thing is? I keep seeing.
There's the shimmering lights coming through my window. I'm like, what is that? What could that possibly
I
be
don't
from?
know. I don't know, but I
The
keep seeing
librarians
you.
are saying, hello, ladies. I hear you talking about us. The seventh dimension is beaming in.
Um, but literally like so I was always afraid because I would see this face and in the window and I was just like I'm afraid to open the windows, blah 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 blah, or close the blinds at night. And we went in and we figured out from a past life. Hannah was like, "Oh, I'm seeing this face. It looks like this." And I was like, "That's it.
That's a face
That's
in
the
the window.
guy." like, that's the guy. And like even just that we were able to figure out. And now look at me, 30 years old, and I can close my blinds at night.
I've always been scared of that exact same thing. And I too, well, I'm 32 now and it just started this year, but now I can now close the blinds at night as well. But I don't know what happened. But when I was little, I would always see red eyes outside.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So, and then now as an adult, I'm like, it was probably like taillights from a car or something. But like the way our backyard was, I was like, I don't know how there would have been.
Mm-mm.
I don't know, but that's why I was scared of the blinds. I'd be like, Mom, there's a little tiny crack. We can't have that. The lies, they look in. Anyways, me being like, I don't know, there were no signs that I was psychic as a child. I'm like, well, I did see red demon eyes every night before my window. I was scared of the dark and I always heard things. I'm like, maybe not. Oh my gosh.
Nah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, so the Akashic Records. It's basically like I'm thinking of like the what I'm picturing is like the Hall of Prophecies when they go to the Ministry of
Mm,
Magic, and it's
yeah.
like all these files, but this instead is more like I like how you said it was like Hogwarts, but it's like it's a record of like all lives in all dimensions, past, present, future. Like, right? Like it's yeah. Have you ever had something that's like because time doesn't exist technically, right? It exists in our dimension. So have you ever had like a situation where it seemed like I don't know, like future information was coming in? Does that make sense?
Trying to remember.
Or like I don't know, like we like the way a past life can affect this life with like a future life. I don't know, like how if you know what I mean.
I've had information from like other timelines. It's not that
Mm.
where I don't have. It's almost like their soul is in this life in another place doing something else,
Oh,
but
okay, interesting.
it's still the same soul.
Yeah.
And I do think that I don't even, I can't recall if it was considered the same body because I don't think that it's pretty wild what is out there in the spirit realm,
Yeah.
what we're capable of. But with future stuff, um, not that I can recall, but I also have a hard time retaining information
Yeah. No, I
afterward.
know what you mean. I feel like when I do readings, like I'm kind of like I blacked out, kind of. I'm like, I don't know. You're just a channel. You're not, it's not you. You're just a channel for the information, right? So it's like, okay, I want to ask you a question because you're very experienced psychic traversing dimensions. So I want your opinion on this.
Okay.
Okay, so my mom passed away in 2015, August 2015. So we're coming on 9 years now. Since it didn't start right away, but a few years after she passed, I started having, well, let me back up a little bit. My whole entire life, I've always had these very mundane dreams. So I can remember like multiple times in college, like I would dream that I went to the grocery store and like the next day I would like expect something to be in my fridge and I'd open the fridge and like there's nothing, it's like an empty fridge and I'm like I went grocery shopping. Like very like realistic mundane dreams, right?
Mm.
So after my mom passed, and I think I can remember this starting a couple of years after, and this still happens to this day. I feel like I continue to have these very mundane dreams, but she's in them and she's alive. And there's
Mm.
sometimes moments, but it's not like I also have dreams where I feel like they're visitations and it's a different feeling. It's like an emotional connection. It's different. Okay. There's no like emotion like, oh my God, my mom in this. And then I feel like there's a moment in these dreams sometimes where I go, wait a minute, my mom's dead. But it's not like a grief thing. It's just like, wait a minute, this isn't right because they're so mundane and normal. And then I feel like everyone in the dream like kind of like looks at me and I wake up. Do
Okay.
you think that there's like a timeline where like my mom am I going back in time? Is that is there a timeline where maybe like she had a different soul contract that didn't include her getting sick and dying younger? Or I don't know. Like what are your thoughts? Or is my brain just making this up? It's
I,
such a weird experience.
I'm actually, I want to tune in real quick and ask because I don't completely know, but I have an idea, but I don't want to tell you the wrong thing.
Okay, yeah. Ooh, this is so exciting.
Just a light question here for the day. We need like the Jeopardy music to play in the background.
I want to distract her.
Okay. So what your highest guide said is that your connection with your mom is very strong when it is another timeline, and your soul wants to be in connection with her deeply, that it you have memories of the other timeline. It's like almost like you get blended in.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, so you're dreaming of
Wow.
a timeline where she is still alive,
Yeah.
and because it's like she wants you to remember her so deeply, like she's still there because she
Yeah.
is timeline. That's what she was telling me. So and it's so
So
fascinating
cute.
works because it's like her soul is, moved on, but then also it's a part of her soul that's moved on, and then the rest of her
Yeah.
soul is living. Um, because a lot of the timelines, whenever people pass, generally they do pass in a almost the exact same time.
Mhm.
So it is possible though, and in this case where they can continue on, it's like they weren't. It might have almost been like an accident that they died, and
Yeah.
but their contract is like, well, we had so much more that we wanted to learn, so she continued on in another timeline.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's so weird how yeah. And I've just always had yeah, I've always had these mundane dreams that just felt like and then she's in them and I had one again recently and like I just feel like and then there's always like or not always but there's often a point where I go, "Wait." Or like she'll I don't know, like enter the scene, right? And I'm looking at her and I'm like I thought you were dead, but I don't say it, but I get confused, but then I kind of just go on in the dream and I'm like, "Oh, I guess not." It's very strange. And then when I wake up, like they're very vivid. Like I remember them. The details, they're very mundane. They're very like, like a lot of dream world is very like I can't explain it. It's slipping away. But these dreams are like me and mom went grocery shopping or we were FaceTiming or I don't it's like it's very and it's not like, "Oh, I missed you so much. Oh, you're doing a good job." It's just like normal.
Right.
It's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, mom, work sucked." It's just like it's so interesting. Okay, that's so cool. Thank you for tuning in. Um, and it is interesting because like so she died from lung cancer,
Mhm.
but she got diagnosed and then for 9 months she was super healthy and normal and then she got really sick and she was in the hospital and they were doing all the scans and they were like it's like a miracle like all of your tumors are gone like this makes no sense but we don't know why you're still sick. So she like miraculously healed a lot because we were illegally using marijuana medicine. This was ages ago. And that she would like make herself. She's a, hippie natural healing woman. And she's also doing qigong and she was doing everything along with the modern medicine from her doctors. But they were like, I mean, she called me crying and she's like, "It's Sadie, like everything's gone. Like I still don't feel good, but like everything's gone. Like I can't believe it." And we were like celebrating, right? And
Mhm.
then it just so happened that, and they said like this is like so like uncommon, but the cancer had basically gotten into her spinal fluid, and so she ultimately died because it was like in the fluid surrounding her brain.
Yeah.
But it was like to me, I was like, I just felt like it, it it had to be her time to go because like she had like miraculously healed and yet it still found a way for her to not, if that makes sense. Like it was just kind of bizarre circumstances where the doctors were like, "It's a miracle. Like all these tumors are gone. Like how did this happen?" But then she still passed. So
Yeah.
it was very interesting. Very interesting.
very
to think
interesting.
about.
I'm guessing in the other timeline because she, I got snippets of it, and she looks insanely healthy. That
Yeah, and she was.
she completely healed, but in for some reason in this timeline, it was, you know, it just she couldn't.
Yeah, yeah. And that's some of the dreams I've had where it's like she's like, no, I like it still happened, but she's like, no, I'm like I got better, and I'm just like, oh. So
Hmm.
yeah, very interesting. I like
Yeah.
those dreams. They're just confusing. And sometimes they're a little spooky when I feel like I remember and everyone's like, it's a dream, and then I leave.
Yeah.
Like, wait,
I'm
she's
like,
not
oh, not
supposed to
supposed to
be
be here.
here.
That's so cool. Thank you for tuning in on that. Wow.
Sure.
Wild.
It's wild. Pam, do you have some more questions?
Um, I feel like you've asked all my questions. But I don't know. I mean, Hannah and I have done a lot of work in the Akashic Records, and I'm wondering if maybe there's like examples that we should talk about or something like that.
Yeah. Tell us more about like the work you, whether it's Akasha Records or other stuff, like some of the work you two have done together.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so I met Hannah in 2021, in January of 2021. And I think we just did like an oracle reading or something like that. And you were like still just starting your business. You were still like really starting to develop and like hone into these gifts that you have. Um, and I was of course asking about a guy, and she was like, no, next. Like um, and she wasn't wrong. But we just kept working together, and she helped me like realign my chakras. This is like one of my favorite first session with Hannah stories that I love to tell. This was maybe, I don't know, like 3 or 4 in. Like we had like known each other, like we had been like friends now. At this point, like she didn't like just meet me and say this to me, but there was she was like working on my chakras, and she was like, I don't, you know, I don't know how to say this, and I don't want to like hurt your feelings, but your heart chakra looks like a raisin. I was like, okay. And so we fixed that. We were working on that. We're
Now
still
it's a juicy plump grape.
yeah. Um, and I don't know, we've done so much now, and now she's like mentors me. She's my psychic mentor, and we I've learned so much. And I think one of the really cool things in the Akashic Records, I wish that I had listened to it before we hopped on here because I have it recorded. Um, and Hannah, I don't know how much you'll remember of it while you were channeling, but when we I have so much trouble sleeping. I have a really hard time sleeping, and we were like, okay, like what's going on here?
Hmm.
And we went into the Akashic Records, and I don't even like know how to explain it. Hannah, do you remember about like this like past life I had as an extraterrestrial, and like extraterrestrial like royalty, but I did something bad,
Oh no. I was like,
something naughty.
What
I
did you
think
do?
I think there was something with like a war, and I think I like betrayed my family in the war or something like that. And so as like retribution and as payment in this life, my soul goes to like the like council, and like I don't even remember. Do you
you
remember?
you made your contract is tied to at night when you're sleeping, your soul is active and is working for them.
Yes.
It's a part of your soul contract, which is funny because a lot of people don't find out if they're in a soul contract with intradimensional beings or extraterrestrial beings, however you want to word it. But you happen to find out. And I was so nervous about you finding out. I was like, she's going to freak. And you were so chill. I was like,
You're like,
I was
oh,
like,
I just have a
cool.
second job.
That's my night
Just
shift.
working the graveyard shift.
so we had
It's like,
Akashic Records and meet with the mother, your
Mhm.
mother lifetime, and she agreed to adjust your contract so you could sleep and not be affected because it was really affecting you pretty badly and you were
Yeah.
having crazy dreams that you were like, what is going on? So she agreed to it, and then but you're still like, you have like, I think a year left of your contract or something like
Oh yeah, I think so. I
that.
need to listen to it again and I'll circle back maybe next week and fill everybody in. But yeah, there was like a certain amount of time in this contract and Hannah helped, I think, lower the amount of time and um like make it so like cool, like she'll still do this, but like let her sleep at night. Like do it in a way where
Like
like
a
she can
psychic
actually,
attorney.
yeah, like literally, so that she can like actually sleep and not have these dreams that are batshit crazy. Like I
Mhm.
was having so like so many weird dreams.
Hmm.
Um, and I would only be sleeping like 2 to 3 hours every night. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's one
that's
of the
not good.
crazier ones.
Yeah.
Wow. So did you feel like you started sleeping better after
I
that?
did, yeah. I mean, now I've always had trouble sleeping, but I think I don't have as many like wild dreams. I still have a lot of like very vivid dreams and
Hmm.
I will like remember them thoroughly. But now I like, I mean, I'll get like 6 to 8 hours of sleep now, where literally for years I was like, I am only sleeping like 2 to 4 hours max every night.
Wow.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter like what I do.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Wild.
crazy. What were you, do you know what you do, what you're at your other job?
I
I don't,
You have to go back and check. I can't
yeah,
remember.
I can't remember either.
Huh.
We did this
Wow.
last year.
Yeah.
Mhm. I think it was like last um
Probably spring because I was at my other apartment still.
Mm.
yeah, I think it was within it was yeah, it was around that time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so
So cool.
crazy. So there's all
Like
kinds
it's
of
not
things you
cool
could
that
do
you're
in
like
the
not sleeping, but it's so cool to
No,
learn
I
that.
know. There's all kinds of crazy things that you could do
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
there. It's very cool.
Another thing that you can do is if someone has a curse or a hex on them,
Mm.
affecting them in this lifetime, whether, and you can, it could be from this lifetime or from a past life. I can find out in the Akashic Records. And then it's such a safe space that I can find out, like, if there's a deity attached to it, whenever they made the contract, call in that deity with my protection and make a deal. So, because they usually want to make a deal, be able to break it. But that's where I usually like to do it because of it being such a high vibrational place.
Hmm. Wow. I need to go on a journey with you into the Akashic Records. Like,
It's very
ooh.
cool. So I think maybe another question that I have is how, maybe this is two questions, but can anyone do this? And how would you start?
Mm.
Yes, I do believe everyone can if they want to, if they feel called to go into that space. And my first experience with it was through meditation. And I stumbled upon it. I didn't even know what it was. I just went down a hallway, saw a beautiful door, went through the door, and bam, I was in there. And I was like, what is this? So now I can teach people, I'll guide people through a guided meditation. I will meditate with them in that space to help assist them through the door where they can meet the librarian and whatever they need to experience their first time, they will, and then how to keep going back in there. So it's a
Wow.
great, easiest way is through meditation.
All right.
Yeah. The more you do it, then you can do it more like, I guess kind of how I do it, where I just tune in and then ask to then to shift my energy to the same energy so I can go in there and I can do it with my eyes open. I like to look at everything. So I usually will close my eyes most of the time to experience everything. But
Mhm.
It is a lot easier with your eyes closed if you want to have the visuals.
Yeah, very cool.
Mhm.
Damn. How do you like experience your intuition? How does that show up for you?
What do you mean?
Like, do you like how do you experience when like spirit talks to you?
Um, I can feel the vibration of spirit. So whenever I connect with spirit, I'm very familiar with spirit's frequency. So I tell, like, I will slightly vibrate at a different, like, I'll get tingly, and I get visuals. Sometimes I smell things. I hear things, and I can feel. So in a way, I have access to all of the clairs in some form or fashion. I believe most people do, if not all. It's just how blocked or how open you are to them. But I've been working on unblocking all of mine for many years. And so it's according to who I'm connecting with. Like if I'm connecting with my guides and I'm asking for information, and this happened to you yesterday, I'll ask a question and they'll give me a visual and then they'll answer, I'll hear them say something, but it's two different things, but it's
Yeah.
the same thing because multiple, like more than one guide is trying to talk to you, but they don't want to talk over each other. So one will get visual and one will.
Yeah, we did a session yesterday, a mentorship session yesterday, and I was like, wait, I had like two different answers. I don't understand. Like I saw one and I heard the other one. She was like, you'll get used to it. But I guess is that something ow, oh my God, maybe there will
You
be
hit your
one
elbow
episode.
every episode.
I literally was
Would
gonna
it be
say
an
maybe
episode of Giggly Witches without Pam hitting her funny bone? We're just too funny.
that's what keeps me funny.
The Spirit was like, these ladies are getting a little serious. We need some laughs. Hit the funny bone.
Oh my God. Okay. Is that something else that you could do in the Akashic Records? Is like start unblocking clairs?
Um, yeah, I believe you can. I feel like it's a great space to go in to see like how much access you currently have.
Mm.
Anything past life is affecting you in the current with your clairs, because I have came across a few clients that have had like insane blockage from a past life and it brought fear in that lifetime, and so they swore over themselves that they would never experience it ever again, and so
Yeah.
go into that past life to clear the karma and have
Right.
removed the soul contract so they can have full access to that clair and then slowly work their way into getting used to using that clair.
Okay. That just unlocked a memory for me too, that we have actually done that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
What is your, because I know a lot of our listeners, I think like, because we hear so much about like, like a lot of psychics will just call themselves clairvoyants, which is only one medium through which we receive that information. But there's a lot of, I don't know, I think like hype around like maybe like the visual aspect of it being like the best one or something, which isn't true. You can
No.
receive all of them are very useful, and I think it's best when you can, like you said, like use them together. But I know a lot of people that have been in, my classes and stuff, and they're like, I wish, I could visualize better. But with visualization or with any clair, like what are some of your favorite ways you help your clients develop their clairs?
My favorite way is to, which Pam and I've done this a few times, where I'll do a guided meditation and I'll find her in the spirit realm to see how well she's vibrating in that space, in that frequency. And then if she's fully vibrating but she's still not seeing, then we start working on her trust. How she self. A lot of people will block visuals because of a fear of what they see or a fear that they're seeing is wrong.
Yeah, that's my thing. Yeah. We just did that. I'm not gonna name the deity, but we just did that where I was like, okay, this person is, or this goddess is reaching out to me and I kind of need help. So we went into a meditation and it was very, very interesting.
Mhm.
And so I don't know. It's very weird how I'm like, wait, you're like one of the coolest things actually that Hannah and I have done, because I'm like super like ADHD and all of the things. And the way that I like my clairvoyance shows up is very different than the way that Hannah's does. And I was like, I wish you could like see like through my eyes and like see what I'm seeing. And she was like, let's try. And so she was able to like literally like get inside of my head and like see the way that like my clairvoyance shows up. And she was like, what the hell is going on in here? And I was like, do you get it now? Like, this is why it's so hard for me.
It is now, like, I didn't know that this was possible. And then she was like, could you just check? And I was like, sure. And I asked for guides. Will you let me, can I do this? And they're like, absolutely. And I'm like, okay. And then, because when I have my eyes closed, like I always, if they're open or closed, I see energy everywhere 24/7. Like it's always a light show constantly.
Mhm.
And I closed my eyes and I asked them to do that. All of a sudden I was seeing like eyeballs looking at me, and I'm like, okay, I don't normally see that. And like immediately, and then I started seeing all of these different shapes, and then all of a sudden, like I was hearing a song and then a conversation. I'm like, a lot. Now it makes sense. And because I can quiet my mind very, very easily and for a
Yeah.
long time. So I love that they gave me access, because it helped me understand why it was challenging for Pam to understand what I was trying to explain to her on
Mhm.
space. So I was like, I'm going to try to tune in with her guides through her mind. And I tried, it was so challenging, and I had to figure out things. And it was really, I loved it because I was able to explain it to her in a different way that resonated with her, where she could get into that space
Mm.
the way that I figured out how to through her mind. And I've been able to do it with other clients since then, which is just like, I love that this exists. I
So
didn't
exciting.
think.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like a
Very
carnival in
cool.
there.
She was like, how do you do this? She was like, what the hell is going
Here's a
on in here?
challenge.
And I was like,
My brain 24/7 is like, also, also,
also.
also, also,
Favorite
also.
just connect with her. And I called in Saint Germain to do some clearing on her. And I asked Saint Germain, I was like, where is this energy located in her body? And he said in her head and shoulders. And then all of a sudden I heard the song, knees and toes, knees and toes. And I'm like, I'm mine, because this is not how it and it just kept playing over and over again, that same song.
That's just how, oh my God, wait, that just made me think of something else. I was like talking to myself because I was like writing out a like social media script. I was trying to, and I was like, and then you do this, and then immediately in my brain, my my church friends here, do you know where I'm gonna go with this? I said, do this.
And also with you.
No, no, no. Okay,
What?
that's never mind. So immediately in my brain, it went,
Like church?
I heard, do this in memory of me.
No.
And I was like, what the hell? Like,
I think you should just say those things. You should write them into the script. That'd probably be really, people
do
would
this
laugh.
in memory of me.
In memory of me.
That's just how my brain works, you know? You say something, or it was you were saying something before, and you were like, where does it come from? And I was like, where'd you go? Where'd you come from? God,
It was fun though. I had a good time in there.
yeah, I'm sure it's fun when you don't have to live in here forever. Just constantly fighting with my own brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was crazy. It was really helpful too, because like it helped. I kept like, it's so hard to explain like what goes on in here.
Yeah.
And Hannah was having a hard time explaining like so that I could actually understand and get it, because I was like, no, you don't understand. Like my brain doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And it's been such a game changer in our like psychic mentoring sessions. Um, and I feel like since then, that was a few months ago now.
Mm. Yeah, that's true.
I can't believe it's already August. But um, yeah, like since then, it's like I feel like I've really like taken off
I
since
agree.
then.
Yeah. And this is like night
Very
and day
cool.
with you being able to tap in. And I'm like, I wish I would have known about this like a year or two ago. Like, I feel like this
Yeah.
helped so much with just being able to understand how other people's brains work when it comes to tapping in and connecting with their guides, because it is different for everyone. Everyone, some people have squirrel brain, some people have like a lot of chatter from like past experiences, and it's kind of always like playing, and it's hard for quiet their mind. That's I feel like one of the most challenging things for people is just to be able to quiet their mind, to be able to connect
Yeah.
with guides or to be able to meditate.
So now that you've experienced a chatter brain, like how did you then like guide Pam differently in order to help her quiet her mind better? Because I'm sure a lot of people I resonate with that. I have had a daily meditation practice for a long time, but I definitely still, even with practice, struggle with chatter brain. And I'm sure a lot of listeners do too. So now having experienced that, how did you approach it differently to help somebody like learn how to quiet that?
I tried different techniques on connecting with their guides, and with
Mm.
I also could feel like her doubting herself a little bit, like almost like I was in her body. And so I could, verbalize to her, like really work on practicing frequently. So almost like like a little daily mini meditation of just connecting with your guides and seeing which clairs become active, and
Mm.
gosh, that keep working at it, because the only way you can really experience it is to do it a lot, to allow your body to learn slowly how to trust what you're experiencing is actually happening, and not to like question yourself constantly. Is this real? Am I getting this right? And then also just us practicing all the time with I'll tune in, she'll tune in, and we'll see how the information comes through. That way it helps her gain confidence with what she's hearing is accurate. And like I'll even ask her questions that I know the answer to, and have her tune in with my guides and practice that way. And I'm like, okay, I think that was exactly it. And now like she went from, taking some time to allow the information to come through, to yesterday, Pam, you were like spitting everything fast. I'm like, damn girl, like I'm so proud of you. Like
Thank you.
such like it blew my mind like how big of a difference it is. So
Yeah, yesterday did feel pretty good.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's definitely like even just sometimes it's like, when you just like need to hear something and like have that like permission, even though you don't like need the permission, it's like
Right.
hearing it gives you that permission. It was even just like having Hannah be like, stop like trying to force a certain Claire to come through. Just like let,
Mm.
Mhm.
like, if your like brain is going all over the place, like, just like she said, like, see which one is coming through and like roll with that. Because I would get
Yeah.
so frustrated being like, well, I can't, I'm not hearing anything. I'm not hearing anything. She's like, okay, but what else is coming through? Like,
Hmm.
just take a step back for a second. And
Yeah.
like, what's coming through now? And like, we've really like landed on like my strongest one is clairsentience, like that feeling, and just like kind of hand in hand with like oh my god, clair cognizance and just like knowing that feeling and knowing.
Hmm.
And now that like I've started learning like, okay, these are the strongest ones that I know that I can trust. Now actually my clairvoyance and my clairaudience are like
Mm.
really coming through a lot more because I stopped trying
Hmm.
to force it so much.
Yeah, it is the surrender
Mm,
piece.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like the more pressure you put on trying to see or hear, like you're potentially blocking yourself from having that experience. And like if you do like they have the intuition tests on TikTok, like practicing with that, like if you notice you have any type of stress or you are questioning yourself, even if it's not towards your intuition, you're just like in a space, you potentially are not going to get any of them right. Like, but if you can
Yeah.
relax and just allow the information to come through however it's supposed to, it might be you hear the color, or and then the next one you see the color. Like it just
Yeah.
kind of,
Mm,
yeah.
So
yeah.
cool.
It is cool. I always just, I mean, I don't do readings as much anymore, but whenever I start getting like chitter chattery or judging it or like, oh, I know I'm making stuff up or, like the things that like to come in when you're like trying to, you're sitting down and forcing it a little bit. You're like, I have to do this right now. I just
Mhm.
kind of imagine myself like floating in outer space. It's black with like, the sparkly stars around me. And it's just like, that's like my clean slate. And I just like come back there and then sort of float into the scene that I need to see, or seeing is my biggest one, and then just like knowing stuff. But yeah, it's interesting. It's a little different for everybody,
Hmm.
but
Mhm.
I think the biggest thing is like we all have access to all of these clairs, and it's like a muscle or anything else. Like some people are naturally gifted, some people are naturally gifted at basketball or I'm watching the Olympics lately, gymnastics or swimming or whatever, but they don't become the best at it without practice. And so even if you maybe have a natural gift of clairsentience, like you'll that's great, or a natural gift of clairvoyance, that's great. But some of these people that are world-class athletes, weren't even that naturally gifted, but they put in the practice and they put in the work and they had access to those things. So it's just like
Mhm.
that. We can do our little
Hmm.
Claire Olympics and practice and get really good at it.
Yes.
And they're born really strong with a specific clair, and then they become afraid and then they block it, or programming, they block it, and then
Hmm.
but when they're in their 20s or 30s, they might have that something just clicks and then you're able to experience it again.
Hmm.
uh Big one that I've seen with a lot of people.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah.
Isn't it
Yay.
fun? Isn't it
Yeah.
fun to be a witch? Oh my gosh. Well, Hannah, tell us where we can find you, how we can work with you, share your socials, your website, anything you want to share with our listeners I'm sure they're excited to follow up with you.
Hmm.
So if you look me up on TikTok, I have Instagram, it's Rainbow Ray Path, and uh, all of my information is on Instagram. I have my link in my bio, and you can go book a session with me through there if you want to book with me. And then, yeah, and I'm on TikTok, just teaching people and doing energy work. So give me a follow if you like my energy.
Yes, I'm sure everyone will be running. I'll have the links in the show notes so everyone can just go click and book your session and follow. And Pam, update us.
Yes.
What do you got going on?
I have got going on. I don't know what I have got going on. I sorry.
Your
I'm
offerings, your
like,
socials.
I
It's
I
like
know,
we
but I
don't do
feel
this
like there
every
was
week.
I know, but in my brain I was like, I feel like there was something else I wanted to start talking about
Mm,
and I can't remember what it was now, and then it threw me off.
you got
Anyway, I
this.
have readings available. Hmm. There's two options. As always, a one-on-one session where we can like super deep dive more into things that you want to talk about. And then another one, if you're like, I'm busy, just email me. We could do that too. And your reading is sent straight to your inbox. And you can find me at Velvet Snake Oracle on the TikTok and Instagram.
Love. And I am Sadie Olson on everything. You can find me on YouTube, Magic with Sadie. I've been posting master classes from my Alchemy Collective vault. I say every Monday. Sometimes on Mondays I forget. I'm gonna be honest. It's been like every other week. I keep forgetting. I'm like, oh shit, another Monday passed. I don't know what day it is ever, you guys.
It's been, the
Ever
weeks
have I
have
ever
been
known what day it
weird.
is? Except for when we record. Best day of the week. But most Mondays I've been posting guided meditations, guided EFT tappings, master classes. I just posted one on the 12 universal laws and how to actually apply them to your life to manifest your best life. So go check it out. And make sure you're following Giggly Witches. We're at Giggly Witches on TikTok and Instagram. And then you know where you are right now, but we're also available on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Make sure you
Hooray.
subscribe if you're on YouTube. We have a pretty good start for the views, but only 5 subscribers. So give us a subscribe, y'all. And if you love these episodes, share with your witchiest woo-woo friend. Share the love, share the magic, share the giggles. Thank you,
Yes.
everyone, for hyping up these first few episodes. It's been so fun, and I'm so excited for
So
the magic
fun.
to come.
Yay.
Yay! Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah. Yay.